This episode draws attention not to one specific event, but to the overall nature of the week's climate-related events. Too often, they went beyond the usual scenario. More on events in different regions of the world later in the episode. Seismic activity. Two strong earthquakes with a magnitude of 5.2 occurred on May 18th in the Lunan district of Liuzhou, Guangxi province. The interval between them was 21 hours. According to data from the China Seismic Network, the epicenters of these events were located about 1 kilometer apart in a densely populated area where around 6.8 million people live within a radius of 100 kilometers. According to local seismologists, both earthquakes belonged to a swarm-type pattern of activity. The tremors had begun a full day before the two main events on May 18th, and the magnitude of the subsequent aftershocks reached 3.6.
Thousands to flee their homes in the middle of...
According to eyewitnesses, the second earthquake was stronger and lasted longer. Buildings visibly swayed, and the shaking continued for about 3 seconds. The tremors were also felt in Guangdong, Guizhou, Sichuan, Yunnan, and Hunan provinces. The maximum shaking intensity reached 7. Fearing new tremors, people hesitated to return home and spent the night outside in cars and tents. Near the epicenter, numerous cracks and sinkholes appeared in the ground and in buildings. Some houses collapsed during the earthquake, while others began to crumble after the tremors had ended, so local residents were afraid to go inside, even to collect essential belongings. The earthquakes also affected the region's economy. The popular tourist area of Liuzhou, known for its local luosifen restaurants serving the city's signature spicy rice noodles, was among the areas affected. After the tremors, tourist sites stopped operating, and many residents and tourists tried to leave the city. Among earthquakes of similar magnitude in Guangxi in recent years, this event became the most severe in terms of its consequences. This was influenced by a combination of several factors: the shallow depth of the focus, karst terrain, and the proximity of the epicenter to populated areas with dense, aging buildings. According to official data, at least 2 people died as a result of the earthquakes, and around 10,000 residents were evacuated. On May 19th, a strong earthquake with a magnitude of 6.1 was recorded in Peru, with its epicenter located 41 kilometers south of the city of Ica. The shaking intensity in the city itself reached 6 on the Mercalli scale. Cultural heritage suffered particularly severe damage. At the old Saraya Cemetery, the San Benito Pavilion partially collapsed, destroying 18 niches, while cracks appeared in the walls of the cathedral. The Faculty of Natural Sciences at the National University of San Luis Gonzaga was also damaged. Windows shattered in the building and deep cracks formed in the walls. Some students suffered nervous breakdowns due to the strong shaking during the tremor. According to local authorities in the regions of Ica, Huancavelica, and Ayacucho, the disaster damaged 70 houses, 8 of which became uninhabitable. Partial damage was also recorded in 13 educational institutions, as well as in public buildings, medical facilities, and shopping centers. As a result, 28 people were injured and hospitalized. The region's infrastructure suffered serious damage. Roads, irrigation canals, and wastewater treatment facilities were destroyed. The seismic tremors triggered landslides that blocked the Los Libertadores National Highway on the section between the district of San Clemente and Ayacucho.
A planet, which is why even Denmark...
In Denmark, on May 20th, a rare earthquake for this country occurred on the island of Zealand, 37 kilometers southwest of Copenhagen.
It caused the...
According to the Euro-Mediterranean Seismological Center, its magnitude was 3.9.
In Denmark, while the entire country...
The tremors were felt both in the eastern part of Denmark and in southern Sweden.
...is not occurring at a completely uniform...
It should be noted that Denmark is considered a region with very low seismic hazard. Earthquakes are recorded here rarely and usually have low magnitudes. According to information from the United States Geological Survey, the first earthquake in Denmark was registered in 1985, and over the entire period up to May 24th of the current year, Only 35 earthquakes with magnitudes ranging from 1.8 to 4.4 occurred in the country, which corresponds to fewer than one event per year. Over these decades, only 8 of them had a magnitude of 3.5 or higher. On May 20th, a powerful earthquake with a magnitude of 5.6 was recorded in the Battalgazi district of Turkey's Malatya province. According to Turkey's Disaster and Emergency Management Authority, the earthquake focus was at a shallow depth, about 7 kilometers. For this reason, the tremors were felt especially strongly not only in Malatya, but also in neighboring provinces, causing brief panic among residents. Animals also felt the shaking and fled. After the first tremors, students in schools where classes were in session were evacuated from their classrooms. The authorities also announced the cancellation of classes for one day in all educational institutions across the province.
Herhangi bir olumsuz durumun yaşanmadığı İçişleri Bakanı Mustafa Çiftçi sosyal medya hesabından yaptığı açıklamada
Fortunately, no casualties or serious destruction were reported. In the area of the Campi Flegrei caldera in Italy, an earthquake with a magnitude of 4.4 occurred on May 21st, one of the strongest ever recorded in this region. The shallow focal depth made the tremors especially noticeable. Residents woke up to an underground rumble, wall vibrations, falling objects, and the sound of rattling glass. In panic, many ran out of their homes wearing whatever clothes they could grab first. Fearing aftershocks, some residents spent the morning outside and in their cars. This earthquake was part of a seismic swarm consisting of 14 events. The shaking was felt in Naples and nearby areas, as well as in municipalities west of the Campi Flegrei caldera. In the town of Bacoli, cracks were recorded in the walls of residential buildings, along with partial collapses of facades. In several settlements in the Campania region, schools were closed so that buildings could be inspected. In the Naples area, train and metro service was temporarily suspended on several lines. The authorities had to temporarily open restricted traffic zones to vehicles and suspend the launching and lifting of boats in the port of Baia. According to the head of the Civil Protection Department, the tremor was very intense. Fortunately, however, the earthquake occurred at sea and not as close to the surface as is often the case in the Campi Flegrei area. Ukraine. Over several days, waves of severe weather swept across different regions of Ukraine one after another. Very severe thunderstorms struck Kyiv and the surrounding region. Although May thunderstorms are not uncommon here, the force of this weather event seriously frightened local residents. One lightning strike hit the roof of a multi-story residential building, while another caused a fire in a private house in the village of Kryukivshina. Strong winds brought down trees and branches, causing power line breaks. As a result, thousands of residents were left without electricity. On May 22nd, Kyiv and the surrounding region were hit by heavy rain with large hail. Roads and courtyards were quickly covered with a layer of ice, while car owners reported damage to their vehicles. In Mykolaiv, a powerful downpour with thunderstorms flooded roads within minutes, turning them into rivers. Sidewalks disappeared underwater, and pedestrian movement around the city became practically impossible. The storms were accompanied by squally winds and hail. Severe weather also caused significant damage in Vinnytsia region. Powerful streams of water washed away residents' vegetable gardens, flooded basements, and left streets covered with a thick layer of mud. Thunderstorms occurred in many districts, and lightning strikes caused several fires. In the village of Voitivka, fallen hail turned the ground into a winter landscape. In Vinnytsia, a tree collapsed onto a public transport stop, and traffic on regional highways was also disrupted. Poltava, Zhytomyr, and Cherkasy regions were also affected by heavy downpours, hailstorms, and squally winds. The natural disaster damaged both infrastructure and agriculture in these regions.
4000 помідор, але подивіться в яких умовах. От пішов дощ.
Turkey. Since May 20th, Turkey's Hatay province has been hit by the heaviest downpours in recent decades, leading to large-scale flooding and landslides.
dahil olduğu belirtildi.
The extreme rainfall quickly overwhelmed the region's infrastructure. Streets were flooded, and water entered homes, shops, and administrative buildings. Many residents were trapped inside their homes. Traffic was almost completely paralyzed, and power outages were reported in some areas. The disaster caused significant damage to agriculture, with about 2,500 hectares of farmland affected. In the Samandağ district, a medical station was flooded almost up to the roof, while waves along the coast washed ashore logs, debris, and animal carcasses.
Mahallesinde bulundu.
The overflow of the Karatsay River led to the partial collapse of a bridge connecting Samandağ and Antakya. At that moment, a car was crossing the bridge and was swept into the river by the water flow. 2 young people inside the vehicle died. Because of a landslide in the Antakya district, a 1-story residential house collapsed. A 15-year-old teenager died, and 3 people were injured and hospitalized. On the Defin Samandağ road, the roadway collapsed. A car passing by at that moment fell into the riverbed, and the driver died at the scene.
Sürebileceği ifade edildi.
Other vehicles were carried away by floodwaters. More than 2,200 emergency service workers and about 860 units of equipment took part in the response efforts. The flooding in Hatay province claimed the lives of 5 people and 17 others were injured.
Hoşgel ve Musa Paşa için ağladı. Araçlarıyla
China. Since mid-May, a series of torrential rains has affected the central, southern, and southwestern regions of China, leading to floods and landslides. In Yangchun County, Yangjiang Prefecture, Guangdong Province, one of the most extreme episodes was recorded on May 20th. Nearly 1,000 millimeters of rainfall fell within 24 hours at the Hiku Township Hydrological Station. A particularly severe situation developed in Baishui village in Enshi Prefecture. According to local residents, the downpour continued for almost a full day. The flood peak came at around 4 o'clock in the morning on May 18th, and in some places the water level reached 4 meters. Because of the heavy rain, roads, communication lines, and power supply routes leading to Baishui village were damaged. In Hunan Province, more than 58,000 people were affected by the disaster in Ximen County. Because of the extreme rainfall, bridges collapsed, leaving more than 20 mountain villages in Hupingshan without electricity and communications. Humanitarian supplies had to be delivered there by drone. During the night of May 24th, nearly 300 millimeters of rain fell within 2 hours in the Yongchuan district of Chongqing. Later that same day, a mud flow destroyed several residential houses, resulting in deaths, while some residents were reported missing. According to one of the rescuers, a man ran out of his house to escape a landslide and was swept away by the water flow, but managed to cling to a tree. He was found conscious, but he had sustained a fracture and was in an extremely weakened condition. By May 25th, water levels on 10 small and medium-sized rivers across the country had risen significantly above warning levels, with the maximum exceedance reaching 3.11 meters. Floods and landslides caused the deaths of at least 22 people, while another 20 were reported missing. Papua New Guinea. A rare underwater eruption of a volcano, provisionally named Titan Ridge, is continuing in the central part of the Bismarck Sea off the coast of Papua New Guinea. Satellites detected the first signs of the unexpected eruption on May 8th. Before that, a series of 6 earthquakes had occurred. The next day, NASA's Aqua and Terra satellites detected white steam plumes, and by May 10th, images showed a steam column reaching up to 3,000 meters in height, as well as an area of discolored water measuring about 9 by 11 kilometers. By May 12th, instruments aboard the Suomi satellite recorded thermal anomalies covering an area of about 7 square kilometers, indicating a large amount of hot material near the surface. At the same time, local fishermen reported a loud rumbling sound and dead fish seen in the area of the underwater volcanic eruption. The volcano, located about 125 kilometers southeast of Manus Island, was releasing a powerful column of steam. Lava was forming floating rafts and even islands of pumice, which, as they drifted away from the eruption site, posed a threat to navigation. Small vessels can become trapped in such formations, while pumice can clog pumps on larger ships. As the chief specialist for geodetic monitoring at the Rabaul Volcanological Observatory noted, ordinary underwater eruptions in this area occur quietly on the seafloor and remain unnoticed. The current activity of the Titan Ridge volcano is considered extremely rare and, in terms of scale, belongs to events that occur once every several hundred or even several thousand years. Over the past week, processes were observed almost simultaneously in different regions of the world that were unusually rare, intense, or rapidly developing for these territories. In seismically calm Denmark, there was an earthquake. In the area of the Campi Flegrei supervolcano, one of the strongest tremors occurred. In China and Turkey, extreme rainfall struck. And in the Bismarck Sea, a rare underwater eruption took place. It is precisely such anomalous phenomena that help assess how natural systems are being restructured and what risks may intensify in the coming years. Understanding the physics of these processes is key to grasping what is happening. The changes are already affecting all of us, and a scientific approach to studying the planet is becoming a priority task for society.